Cosby, and a couple other like Ashford and Simpson. But at the time, there just was no way that he was going to get a TV series. And so he actually got the idea to turn it into a movie from the guy who would become the director of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So you can kind of get an idea of the circle he was in. But he thought that an all-black cast would have curiosity.
I believe is when. And have you got everything set up?
You don't want to go after her. So, instead of making it into a TV series, he decided to try and make it on Broadway. And the reason why he did that is because of musicals, and he was a DJ, so he knew all about pop music. And this right here is just kind of like Stephanie Mills, and this is somebody else too. But this is, oh yeah, and well, I'll go into that further, but these are all like old newspapers that I found that are like from the 70s. And he wanted to attract black audiences and chic white people. And by chic, I mean just like what it sounds like, because they listen to pop music, not so much the rock and roll crowd. So he got William Brown to write the play using black slang. Charlie Smalls, who's a Juilliard-trained jazz composer. Jeffrey Holder, who a lot of you guys may remember as the big, tall bodyguard, bald-head guy on Annie, the movie. And George Faison, who danced with the Albany. And so I broke it down kind of from funding to opening day. It kind of was a chance meeting that Harvard found funding for this, because there really hadn't been any black musicals since Carmen Jones, which was back in the 50s. Well, I'll say all black cast musicals. Anyway, he stumbled upon a friend of a Fox board member who introduced him. And eventually Fox sent for him and Charlie Smalls to go to California and present it. And they liked the costumes and the music, and they gave him $800,000 to get the play started. The play opened on Broadway January 5th, 1975, and it tanked. After opening day, it was a closing letter up. He did something. Fox agreed to give them another $250,000, which made it into about a $1.2 million investment for Fox. And they did something that was kind of unheard of at the time. They started like a mass marketing campaign, and that was really unheard of for Broadway. They would advertise in magazines, maybe on the radio, but not too much on TV. And so he went on TV, he went on the radio, and he just started this huge marketing blitz. He also went underground visiting black churches along the East Coast, so he started in Harlem and down to Baltimore and down to Atlanta. And the result of that is that it became pretty phenomenal. They had busloads of, originally it was mostly African Americans, churchgoers, that would just flock to the show. And within the first 6 weeks, they had grossed over $400,000. And they would recoup that $1.2 million in about 7 or so months. And they ended up having a 4-year run with 1,672 performances. And they also toured in Canada and Japan. And almost 5 million people went to go see the play. And these are just some more pictures. You can see the budget was relatively small for what they were trying to do, so they kind of improvised. So for the Yellow Brick Road, they had these 4 guys, and they had them dressed up in these, it looks like a boardwalk, and they would walk in front of Dorothy. And this is the evil witch, and she's just like the epitome of, I guess, negativity. She sat on the toilet, she had like these big pork sausages everywhere, pork right here. And to make up for the monction, since they couldn't afford a lot of little people, and plus it was an all-black cast, so that'd be a lot of midgets to find. They had them ride on tricycles, and so that it was just a colorful event. And this is some more of the newspaper I found. And I don't think I can make it in here, but you guys can see the picture. And it really was just a rave, like it was the talk of the town. Okay, so other musicals of that era, just to get a sense of where Broadway was. West Side Story was in 1957. Hair came out in 1967. Jesus Christ Superstars in Grease. So all of these were like rock and roll kind of fun musicals. The last popular all-black cast musical was Carmen Jones from the 1950s. And all in all, there's not so many all-black cast musicals on Broadway, period. Only about 34 of those. The social climate of that era, I think, is important for what he was trying to do. It seems like he was really trying to take a positive approach, and we'll go into that further. But it was a high poverty. This was 1974. There was in the early 60s, early 70s, 22% was below poverty line. It was high in Appalachia, so it's like West Virginia or so, and also high in the urban cities where sometimes it reached above 50%. So right now, I don't know, I guess we're around 10% unemployment, between 15 and 10% unemployment. So you can just imagine that's a much higher number. Kennedy started with the war on poverty, and also Martin Luther King in his Vietnam speech started that campaign. And it's funny that both of those people were assassinated only after they started to discuss the war on poverty. President Johnson in '64 started the Economic Opportunity Act, also called the Community Action Network to tackle and fund jobs and education. But by 1967, with President Nixon, those funding started to decrease, and by 1974, there really wasn't a lot of funding to help them. So this was the sentiment around town. Pardons for $1. This is in reference to Ford pardoning Nixon so fast, and this was at the Democratic National Convention in 1976. And in general, New York City at that time is not the New York City that we know today, which makes it even more phenomenal that a Broadway show would flourish. People must really wanted to get out of their element. But you know, there were like a lot of sex stores in Manhattan, and this is in the Bowery, and you know, people were just sleeping on the streets. It was pretty bad. So from the black perspective, well, not just the black perspective, but by the mid-1970s, the nonviolent movement was taking a backseat. Everyone who advocated for nonviolence got killed, you know, got shot. There was also the anti-Vietnam sentiment going on, you know, that became awfully violent. And black riots from the late 1960s were still on the minds, you know. And poverty was beginning to fuel racial tensions again, which in the 60s people were trying to come together, and all of a sudden it was trying to fall apart. The black sentiment was changing to angry and, you know, let's get guns, and, you know, we're not going to just have police beating us up anymore. So that's kind of what they were up against. So the rise of blaxploitation films. In 1969, Gordon Parks became the first black director of a Hollywood feature film with The Learning Tree. And in 1970 is when it really just became explosive. Melvin Van Peebles started Sweetback's Badass Song with 50,000 from himself, 50,000 from Cosby gave him, and another couple 100,000 from non-industry people. And it opened initially only in Atlanta and Detroit, and it ended up grossing over $10 million. This is the same time when Hollywood, because of the economy, was on the decline. That was just a wake-up call. It came out of nowhere, and it made all this money. And so what happened is that Hollywood jumped on the bandwagon, and basically what a lot of what they call blaxploitation is an angry black person does something illegal, and they get over and they win for a change. So after Melvin Van Peebles came out with that, Gordon Parks, I think it was through Warner Brothers, released Shaft, and that grossed another $11 million. So 2 short years, there was like $30 million on the scene that wasn't there before. So Hollywood saw this as a way to save their profits, and the term blaxploitation was coined actually by Variety magazine, because most of these movies were created by white production production companies with little black artistic input. So a lot of the black exploitation films actually didn't have any black people say this is how it should be. It was just more of maybe what someone thought it should be. And they were low budget, they were sexually overt, violent, drug use, and it was like dirty, dingy surroundings. And between 1970 and 74, of the 100 black exploitation films, less than 1/5 had any real black input. This was just kind of jarring when I started to look at some of the themes that were popular back then as far as movies that had blacks in them. One of them was Nigger Charlie is Coming, the legend of Nigger Charlie. And apparently there was a Times Square billboard ad that was like, Nigger Charlie is coming. Like, that was okay. The same Manhattan that had a lot of sex shops and poverty, of course. And this one right here is Welcome Home, Brother Charlie. And this has a scene in it where his penis stretched like over 20 feet long and it invaded into a sleeping woman's body. So you just get an idea of how blacks were being portrayed. And all of them weren't bad, but if they weren't this, they were usually some type of comedy. So, okay. The movie, the play, The Wiz had done phenomenal. It swept the Tony Awards. It won every award you possibly could have won that year. Other than for the writer, which was unfortunate. And they decided to make it into a movie. Fox passed up on the film. They really didn't want to make the musical into a film. Instead, they gave Harper 18 months to find backing, and he did. He found it in Motown, which had already came out with Lady Sings the Blues and Then Got Into Friday, and Universal. And they picked Sidney Lumet, who was just so happened to be Lena Horne's son-in-law, to produce it. And this was his first foray into musicals. And this is actually a scrapbook that I found. I don't know if you can tell how thick it is, but it was about this thick, and it shows you completely how they produced The Wiz. And so what happened when they produced The Wiz, the movie? They made some changes, I think, to be more in line with the cultural of the time. So they changed it from Kansas to Harlem setting. And they changed Dorothy. She's no longer a teenager. She's now a 24-year-old school teacher who's just afraid to leave past 125th Street. And to me, also that kind of symbolized like the black Negro is afraid to go down south, you know, because Manhattan is south of Harlem. But okay, so the story begins Thanksgiving dinner. It's a freak snowstorm. Have you guys saw The Wiz? Most of you guys know what The Wiz is? No.
Was that the one with Michael Jackson?
Yes. Yep, this is it right here. I have a little bit of clips here. So just to give a little background on how he changed the characters to fit more in line with what was important. The Scarecrow was Michael Jackson. What he symbolized was he was unconfident. He was very intelligent, but he was unsure of himself and just listening to people in his surroundings telling him he couldn't do it. The Tin Man was a con man and a drinker and a womanizer and a user who was hardened, but really he had so much love inside of him. He just felt like that was what he needed to do to get ahead. The Cowardly Lion, aka Fleetwood Coupe de Ville, is this lion who is this person who hides his education, tries to hide his education and love for the arts. Like he's really just really smart and listens to like opera, but for the black community that doesn't seem very strong, so he fakes it by trying to act tough. And along the way, they're confronted with graffiti, prostitution, gangs, heroin, poppy seeds. Filming in New York, this is actually the Brooklyn Bridge right here, and this is the World Trade Center, and they set this up for the Emerald City scene. Filming in New York City. So when they started filming, it became like this major New York City event. Everybody wanted a piece of it. And it ended up costing $24 million, which was a huge problem. But they used the World Trade Center, they used the Brooklyn Bridge, the Public Library, Chrysler Building, Coney Island, subways, everything in New York was used. This right here just goes into a little bit more of why I think The Wiz was meant to be a little bit more of a positive black movie that blacks weren't seeing. This right here is a picture that Gordon Parks did for Life magazine in 1967, and this is poverty in Harlem. And if you look, the woman is pregnant. If that's their Thanksgiving dinner, which it must be because they have 2 pies, it's a bad Thanksgiving. And further in the pictures, it just shows a complete horrible family structure. It's bad. This right here, in contrast, is a Thanksgiving dinner in the Wiz. And, you know, there's family, there's kids, there's food, it's jovial. This is also set in Harlem. Okay. However, though, the movie was a financial flop. It cost $24 million to make, which is a lot of money to recoup. It grossed about $13 million at the box office, and it had sold about $10 million in pre-release film rights. They sold that to CBS ahead of time. But compared to the wave of blockbusters that were coming out, the movie just didn't do well enough. These were some of the movies that were coming out. But the themes for movies were changing. They were changing from sci-fi to horror. So Jaws came out in 1975, $250 million worldwide. The Exorcist came out in 1973. Star Wars came in 1977, $450 million. The Wiz just couldn't compete. So these were the outcomes of the film. The good is that Quincy Jones worked on it. So many people worked on this movie. But Quincy Jones worked on it, and this started his relationship with Michael Jackson, who they went on to make Off the Wall and Thriller, and everything pretty much up until Bad, which of course made Michael Jackson into a mega superstar. Also, Luther Vandross started his singing career, and he changed the shape of R&B. It became a cult classic. Bounce TV started about a year or so ago, and they made that their inaugural film. And it also inspired, I was reading articles where Tyler Perry said he was inspired by the film and made him want to write. There were a lot of ads to it too, though. It was one of Diana Ross's last major films. It also, unfortunately, since there was so much money and so much hype for the film that it didn't do as well as they wanted, it took away the opportunity for Black films to be filmed. You know, big budget again. It took a very long time. These are just like pictures, so you can see. I can't remember. But
Just need to skate.
so this right here, I can't remember, maybe in 1990s they started making Black movies again, and those were by and it was the last major acting role for Michael. In New York, another 100,000 in California, DC. These are all just like 1 and 2 day numbers. And this is how, I guess it kind of generalizes how much fun New York City, how much fun the movie was for making. For the premiere, they all rode the subway to the premiere, like Michael Jackson, Diana Ross. This is Walter Cronkite, Lena Horne. Tatum O'Neal was Michael Jackson's date. Mayor Koch. They all rode the subway down, and they were like drinking champagne and having a party on the subway, and we went upstairs. And this right here shows, kind of get a feel how it could become $24 million so fast. This is them actually paving the Brooklyn Bridge with linoleum. They kind of wanted to keep it true to the setting of Harlem. So the yellow brick road is actually yellow linoleum that they had to pave onto the walkway.
Yellow what?
Linoleum?
What is that?
Like, you know, when you go to
This floor is linoleum.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's like the fake tile. The tile you get pushed down. Yeah, the tile. So, that is, for the most part, trying to condense it.
Thank you. Okay, questions, lots of questions.
What made you pick this?
Because the professor told me my first idea was too broad. No, you know what? I always loved the Wiz.
Because I've never heard of it.
Wow, that's fantastic then. So maybe you were right. There's not a lot of writing on it.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
You never heard of it? Me neither.
I've never heard of it, but as you were talking about it, I remembered a movie I saw with Michael Jackson that reminded me of Mr. Boss. So I made the connection, but I never heard the name The Wiz.
Yeah, so I did it because I just wanted to find out some more about it. When I first saw it, it was just kind of fascinating to me.
Oh,
hasn't really changed much. I know Tyler Perry very well, and I watch many of his films. I'm surprised I've never seen this film, but I love Tyler Perry movies, and most of his movies aren't high budget. I mean, they are very, I know a lot, I mean, they're very good movies, but I know that it hasn't really changed much. Most of the movies now are still very violent and still giving or a comedy, like The Nutty Professor, for example. If you think about it like that, you see family movies that are usually just comedic or very violent, and there's not much a positive light to it besides, like, I mean, I could name the movie about the black singer. I forgot her name.
The Beyonce
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, besides some of those types of movies, like this whole woman in distress becoming, something so big and popular, like, I haven't really seen much in Sam.
I was just gonna, you touched on Motown being part of the production of the movie, correct? Do you think that because Motown was a company that tried to, in general, put Black people in a positive light by making it more commercial, do you think that had anything to do with the production of the bid being so much of a positive thing?
I think so. Well, Ken, with the play, he had already started this trying to be as positive as possible. And I think for Motown's image also, with a lot of the movies they made were gritty too, though. Their movies were gritty. Lady Sings the Blues is about Billie Holiday's struggle with heroin. Mahogany can be pretty gritty. I'm pretty sure you see Mahogany. So I think that they wanted to put themselves on the map as being able to do something more crossover. Yeah, definitely.
Why do you think they chose Diana Ross because she was affiliated with Motown?
They chose Diana Ross because Diana Ross said that she had a dream that she needed to do it, and so she went to Universal and begged them, because you gotta remember, by now Diana Ross is a superstar, but she's also 34 years old.
Yeah.
And Stephanie Mills was actually who played the lead character in the Wiz play, and she was about 22 by now. And Whitney Houston, one of my sources, one of her interviews, she said that she had a dream about it, and she knew that she had to do it. And she told that, and she convinced Berry Gordy, and she convinced Suni Monet, who was Lena Horne's son-in-law, so it was just, they know each other. And he said, I'm not gonna do it without her now.
I just felt like when I first saw the movie, when I was younger, I feel like Diana Ross was kind of always be looking.
Now that they brought it out, I think as a kid I never, but now that I saw someone brought it out, I thought it was good, I guess.
We have time for just a few quick questions, and then my question, and then we have to move on.
Okay.
Why do you think the characters so deeply portrayed stereotypes?
Because I think it was the antithesis to the blaxploitation films, where like Shaft or Superfly. Like Shaft was a police officer, but he was still fighting against police corruption. Or Superfly, he was a hustler, but he kind of symbolized having your own business or whatever. I think that the characters symbolize some really important things for our younger generation. You can be smart and be strong. You don't have to be a womanizer. You don't have to be so hardcore. I think that these were things, and that was the problem with blaxploitation, that it discussed the confusion and the anger that a lot of blacks had, but it never really touched on us as a people. Like, this is how you get over it. This is who you can be. So I think he specifically, when he changed it to a movie, changed the characters, I think he did it for those reasons. She had her.
Oh, sorry. Do you think it had a lasting impact, especially as you hear, clearly there's a racial difference in who's seen the movie and heard and who hasn't. So, do you think that it really had a lasting impact, or do you think, because it's not known so as much, you know what I'm saying?
I think that it has yet, fortunately, and I didn't have a chance to show you, but in my research, I found a typed up transcript from the writer, from Ken Harper, and he's kind of making his notes and everything. It was really cool. And he said that what was so important about making the movie is that so many people weren't going to see the play. Even Michael Jackson said that. He said so many people aren't going to see a play. But now that we have it on film, even if it did tank at first, it's still the opportunity I think, like, I'm having a discussion with you now, you might watch it, you know, and, I went to a lot of, like, discussion boards, and it's really still in discussion, like, people are typing, talking about it. So I think with time, especially as social networks bring us closer, I think it's just a matter of just keep getting the word out. But I know in the Black community, it's like a staple, like, you know.
What, do you think that it's something you had marketed and promoted it, that like it never really reached the white community?
You know what, it's so funny because when I was in high school, we had, in my English class, we had to watch The Wizard of Oz and dissect what it meant. But now looking back, I went to a high school and this was really mid. I think that if you have to watch The Wizard of Oz, I think that the wish should be shown. Like, I think that the two should come together. Like, you should watch The Wizard of Oz and you should watch The Wiz. So I think it should be in curriculum. How you go about that, I'm not at all
I
sure.
never thought of the Wizard of Oz as a cultural.
I'm gonna have to jump in here because we're almost out of time. My question is this, you spent a lot of time on context, setting up the time period. So I'm wondering if you could take that a step further, talk about it in connection with the political movements of the day. You keep sort of being self-deprecating and saying this isn't an important topic, and yet there are clear political implications of this film, lasting political implications. You're kind of connecting it to the rise of the Black Power movement in a way, and the insistence on an all-Black cast is a political statement in a way. Can you make that political connection in terms of what they were trying to accomplish politically?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and I'm kind of, yeah, I can write a lot about that. Oh, you're asking me a
Yeah,
question?
I'm asking
Oh.
you. But definitely put it in there, yeah.
Okay.
Give me your 30-second answer.
I think actually it was the antithesis to the blaxploitation movie from a political sense. I think that it was saying Ford is taking our money away. You know, there's not so much that we can change about the circumstances going on outside, but what you can do is have a lot more confidence in yourself as a community, not just a Black community, but as a community. And because there's like, you guys just have to watch the movie. Because when they go to the Emerald City, it's like people are walking around with golds and diamonds, and every couple scenes the color changes, like, oh, now it's red, oh, now it's green. Like, you know what? You don't have money for rent, but I'm going to wear these shoes. So I think it was making a conversation about consumerism. I think it was also making our educational system. The Cowardly Lion was widely intelligent. I mean, he was just like, quote, Shakespeare. But in, you might not find that so much, you know, as something that's seen as strong in our educational system. So I guess from a political standpoint, it definitely was touching on consumerism. Because even the Bad Witch, that was supposed to be a sweatshop, and all the people like, you know, let's not make Eveline upset. But then after Dorothy killed Eveline, they were like the people in the sweatshop looked like monkeys at first, and then after she was dead and they were out of her control, they were out of her control, they like, their suits came off, they literally came off in the movie, and they were like these beautiful people doing dance, and it was just so nice. So, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Well, thank you very much.
It was terrible.
It was good. Where are you originally
Our
from?
next presenter.
I'm from Albany, but I was raised in Atlanta.
I was gonna say, I can tell a little bit from your southern accent. I like it.
Our next presenter is Candace.
And you speak slow.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Candace, do you need to put a USB in there, or you don't have?
I just sent this to my email.
Okay.